Wake up, world. It's time for the William Malcolm Morning Show, where we encourage you to pursue your dreams and live a life filled with passion and purpose. So turn up your volume and prepare to be inspired. Now, here's your host, William Malcolm.
Good morning, Detroit, and Merry Christmas. If you were blessed to wake up healthy and in your right state of mind, then it's safe to say that you've had a blessed Merry Christmas. Amen? Well, Detroit, there has been no mistake made. You are, in fact, tuned into the William Malcolm Show. However, it is me, Stephanie Coney, co-host and sponsor. Today, we have a phenomenal guest visiting with us today live, and I'm sure you'll be inspired to hear her speak here shortly. Detroit, in the words of my pastor Kinloch, I'm hippopotamus happy and peacock proud to introduce my very special and esteemed guest, Mrs. First Lady of Triumph Church, Robin Kinloch. Good morning.
Good morning. Happy Saturday, Stephanie.
Same to you, and Merry Christmas. Thank you.
Merry Christmas, happy holidays, all of that good stuff. Certainly wishing you well this holiday season.
Thank you. Same to you. I just want to thank you so much for being here today. I know you have a busy schedule due to working tirelessly in our community, and I thank you for your time today, and thank you for all you do.
Oh, my pleasure. My pleasure.
So listen, I'm going to get right into it, okay? Triumph is ranked as one of the largest churches in the state of Michigan. Can we just start at the beginning, First Lady, and tell us how did we get from the beginning to here? And I am a proud member of this church, but how do we get from the beginning to here?
Yeah, well, most people, as of our recent, tenure, think that Triumph is a new church, but actually Triumph celebrated its 100-year anniversary in June of 2020. And so the church has been around. It's been a stable church, actually began in a home in Southwest Detroit.
Wow.
And so God has just favored this church. The church was a thriving church at one point under Pastor Kinloch's predecessor, Reverend 𝙁𝘼𝘾𝙀𝘽𝙊. And, when he took ill, the church did see a decline just in that transition of power. And so when Pastor Kinloch was elected to the church, they were 40 members.
Wow.
And so to just see the hand of God just favor this church, this community, this movement is so humbling, to us that he would use. And when I say us, I'm not talking about just the leadership or just Pastor Kinloch, just the members. I mean, we have such a phenomenal membership.
Yes.
Who's engaged. They want to help. And so for God to use us all in this space and to become a part of this spiritual movement is really humbling, really humbling.
You know what? And I'm glad you brought that up. I want to ping off of that for just a sec. I watched church yesterday. I watched it streaming live, and I saw, the people in the parking lot. But I want to give a shout out to the people who worked in the parking lot. I saw them. It was cold yesterday. It was snowing. And our parishioners, our volunteers, they were out there just making sure that people were parked right and in a line correctly and just, oh my goodness, how do you guys keep the volunteers just so motivated and engaged? Because they don't just serve, but you guys, I don't know what you're doing, but you're choosing the right people because they look happy to serve.
Yeah, well, first and foremost, Triumph is known as the church where the word is the word. Mm-hmm. And so the word, tells us that our service is not rendered unto man, it's rendered unto the Lord.
Amen.
And so we really take that motto to heart. It's so funny because we have just a phenomenal group of members that are part of this Triumph life. Mm-hmm. And so when the pandemic hit, we were not able to engage volunteers like we would, obviously prior to the pandemic. But we had volunteers consistently calling saying, hey, no, I don't mind volunteering. I want to be a part. Please let me be a part. And we just wouldn't, because we wanted to be responsible. You know, early on, we just didn't know enough.
Yeah.
You know, social distancing we weren't as knowledgeable as we are now with social distancing, masking, and things of that nature. But when we started to become, and that's become our new normal, right? We did have volunteers come in. We were very honest with them as it relates to protocol and what they would have to do. And they would have to do a questionnaire, and they would have to do screening. And then we just kind of put the earnest on them, you know, in the work of the Lord. Do you really want that to be tainted because we're not being responsible? And so that extra layer of caution, you know, people have come on board, and they want to serve. You know, they want to be a part of what Triumph is doing. And they know that, you know, Pastor Kinloch has set that standard of excellence, that we don't serve people because we feel that they are in need. We serve people because it's a privilege. And so, you know, one of the things we tell the volunteers that, you know, when you're serving, you think you're blessing somebody else, but you're really blessing yourself.
Amen. Amen. And even before the pandemic, First Lady, I mean, with the meals, you know, with the Bible study on Tuesday, those volunteers, even before, the food was delicious, by the way. You guys did not miss a beat with feeding us parishioners. And those volunteers were happy to, if it was just putting a scoop of potatoes in your plate, you know, they're really on point. You guys just do so very much. And you have taken our worship, just to the next level. How did you all come up with the concept of a drive-in worship service?
Yeah, so, you know, when the pandemic hit, so prior to the pandemic, we did not have an online presence or platform. And one of the reasons being is that, you know, Pastor Kinloch really believed that church should be intentional, that we should be intentional with Christ. We need to get up and we need to go, you know, to worship service if we can. And so that was one of the reasons that we were kind of apprehensive in going in that vein. But when the pandemic hit, we were forced into that space in order to, you know, just keep people connected and to keep their hopes up during that time. But our pastor studies churches across the countries and different models and things of that nature. And so we kind of mimicked what we thought would be, you know, that would give us the ability to keep people engaged. Because people still wanted to come out. And people were still, you know, they needed to be intentional with church during this time of uncertainty. And so, you know, God blessed us that we were able to partner with some vendors and get good pricing so that we could make that available. And so you'll see, like you alluded to, you'll see people in the parking lot. But I'm always amazed because during this time, you know, I'm definitely more casual than I was prior to the pandemic, but I see people dressed up in their cars, in their Sunday best, just as they would if they were, you know, engaged in face-to-face worship. And so it's just a mighty move of God. And so, again, we're so humbled.
And we are so thankful for you all. We are so thankful. Just this last week alone, okay, I watched you give away the 4 cars last Sunday, the shopping spree for several hundred children. You guys do so much. It's so hard to keep up. I mean, how do you guys even come up with these things? Because this is innovative. This is big. This is huge in our community.
I would say first and foremost, prayer. We have always been intentional with what is the need of the people. And so we don't just frivolously have campaigns or initiatives. You know, it's something that certainly that is prayed on, that's executed in prayer in the spirit of excellence, and something that's going to really impact the lives of people, but not giving them as the world would give them necessarily, but letting them know this is the love of Christ. So this is our first step. This is the love of Christ. These people that you see that are serving in a spirit of excellence, that are engaged and helping, that is Christ living on the inside of them. And so it's not just giving per se the fish, but we're introducing them to this Christ who can save them, meet their needs, and take them much further than we can with a meal or a car or a handout. And so that's really always going to be our goal, is bringing folks to Christ.
Amen. And although our church is ranked the largest in the state of Michigan, there are still a lot of people who, really don't know about Triumph and all the great things that you guys do. For those who are not familiar, I want to ask this question for them. Do you have to become a member, or do you have to be a member of Triumph in order to partake in some of these blessings and gifts that you guys give to the community?
Absolutely not. So great question. So community outreach is just what it says, community outreach. We encourage people, again, because the goal is to win souls to Christ, to introduce them to Christ. But we certainly encourage people to participate. One of the great things about Triumph is that you don't have to be a member to participate in any of the gift initiatives, but you don't have to be a member to participate in ministry as well.
Oh, wow.
And so it is very, very, very Christ-centered in everything that we do. And so, we are all trying to get to the same heaven, and so we may as well start getting along down here.
Amen. So it's safe to say people who are not familiar with Triumph, they don't have, there's no cliques, there's no cliquish. You don't have to be a member. You can come and worship, partake, and you said even serve without being a member. But for those who may want to become a member, how can you become a member of Triumph?
Right. So the church office is always available Monday through Saturday from 9 to 4. You can call in and be a member. We've transitioned to text to join. And a person, all they have to do is dial 313-131 on their cell phone, and you'll get prompted with the information. Actually, Pastor is doing a new members brunch this morning just to welcome people and introduce them to what Triumph is about and this spiritual journey that they've signed up for. So we still want to keep our new members engaged. And even with that, if you wanted to we offer foundation classes on Monday, just to learn about spirituality. And you can certainly engage in those classes as well to see what would I be signing up for before making that decision. But I encourage anybody who hasn't chosen Christ to do so. It's worth it.
Amen. Now, for those who are listening to us today and they're hearing all the awesome things that you guys do in the community, if they just want to maybe donate or, just bless the ministry, how are they able to do that?
So same way you can, and we're always looking for people to partner with us just in order to increase our footprint in the work that we're doing. And so donations can be made via our church website, which is www.triumphch.org. There's a giving tab there. Cash App, Triumph Detroit. A lot of people give that way. You can send a check in to our post office box, which that information is on our church website as well. And you can always call the church office and make a gift donation over the phone.
Okay. And just for our listeners out there, can you give that website again and phone number?
Sure. www.triumph.org. And our phone number is 313-386-8044. Again, that number is 313-386-8044.
Okay. And please, Detroit, don't forget the CH. It happened to me. I typed it in and I forgot the CH after Triumph. So I'm glad that you repeated that for everyone. Now, one question before we go to our break. I want to ask, what does a typical day look like for Triumph? Because you guys are just everywhere.
Well, every day is a little bit different depending on the initiative. Last week, because we had our 3 days of the shopping giveaway, our day started out at 1 a.m. every morning.
Wow. And
we were at Meijer at 3 a.m. And we were able to partner with Meijer and our volunteers to make shopping occur over 4 Meijer stores. And that took place from 4 to 6 because we wanted to make sure that we were bringing people into a safe space. They had committed to disinfecting prior to our arrival, and we were the only ones in the store. And then from there, we're doing ministry as it relates to logistics, partnering with people, seeing what we can do as it relates to rolling out our services and keeping people engaged and keeping people Christ-centered. And then we roll off into our services. And so we've been able to, through this drive-in, we've been able to reopen our spiritual beltway and offer services at every campus.
Wow.
Saturdays, on the weekends. And as you know, being a member, we always have service on Thanksgiving Day, Christmas Day. And so we were able to have services on Christmas Day.
Wow.
But honestly, it's such a good work. It's not a burden. And that's kind of the energy that Christ has provided to us. And even with our volunteers, I may see some volunteers all 3 days or all 4 days or all weekend, because it's such a good work, again, that God is allowing us to do in this season.
Amen. Well, we're going to take a very short break, but when I come back, I want to talk about what you just said, that energy and how you keep it. So we'll be right back. Thank you all for tuning in with our First Lady, Ms. Kinloch. Thank you for tuning in. We'll be right back. Does your health insurance carrier coordinate with your auto insurance carrier? Hi, I'm Stephanie Coney, insurance broker for London Consulting and Insurance Firm. Our independent office specializes in both personal and commercial lines insurance. If you're looking for great customer service, then contact me, Stephanie Coney, at the London Consulting Firm today by calling 1-800-651-9142 or visit www.londonconsultingfirm.com. Hello, Detroit. We are back, and thank you so much for tuning in to the William Malcolm Show. It's Stephanie, co-host and sponsor. Today, my very special esteemed guest is Triumph Church First Lady Robin Kinloch. Thank you again for being here with us, First Lady.
Oh, my pleasure. I'm having a blast.
So am I. And I'm so proud to be a member of this congregation. Let me just say that I have come a long way with my spiritual growth. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So with that being said, how many services a week does Triumph have?
So we prior to the pandemic, we were offering 14 services. And so now we've had to pivot somewhat. And so we are offering 10 services on Sunday and 2 Bible studies. So we offer on Tuesday a 12 noon and a 6:30 that people can partake in over at our North Campus.
Wow. That's a lot. Let's go into that energy. How do you keep that energy? To keep going with 10. I know to do the will of God. I know that is motivating, but even physically and mentally, how do you keep that energy, First Lady?
So let me be honest. I don't attend all 10 services on Sunday, so the pastor has that energy bestowed upon him by the Lord.
Amen. Yes.
So he does the 10. I typically do 3 or 4, depending on what the need is. But, again, I definitely stay healthy as possible. I shouldn't say as possible since I ate a lot yesterday for Christmas. But working out, being intentional with vitamins, eating healthy, mind, body, and spirit, devotion, meditation, and to your point, like you said, executing the will of God. And so, just depending on God to provide us the strength and that we need in order to continue, this journey. And so even when COVID hit and there was some uncertainty there, Triumph never missed a beat. We were still able to do prayer services at 6 a.m.
Yep.
And we just, obviously we were responsible. We were, we stayed connected with people without being with people, but ensuring that people knew that even in this time of uncertainty, Christ was still in charge. He was still prevalent in all of our lives, and he was the person who would bring us out of this particular time. And so we really didn't have an issue or concern per se that we would necessarily, be sick or be in a space where we could not do because we prayed prior to executing. And so, again, being responsible, eating healthy, exercising, just being really intentional with taking care of what God has gifted us with.
Amen. So what does a typical day look like for you, First Lady?
Every day is different. I typically start, I'm an early riser, and no one else in my household is, so I don't know if that's good or bad, but I typically wake up about 5. Wow. I may get on the Peloton bike before I start, but a lot of it has to do with planning even before we start our day, in the office. So who are we going to connect with? Can we get a partnership for this? These are the initiatives and campaigns that we're rolling out. Are we bringing guests in? Who can we work with in order to make sure that our execution is that standard of excellence that we're looking to achieve? Where's the need of the people? And so we have people contact the church all of the time. So where are we seeing our greatest need? Where can we be the most impactful? Okay. And we have a phenomenal team that works in the office who, again, very intentional, very dedicated. Former Chief of Police Ralph Gabi is our Chief of Staff, and he has definitely taken on the spirit of the church in that whatever we need to do, get it done mentality. So we don't have, the staff is committed to the mission of the church, and we work together to lessen the burden, but to meet the needs.
Okay. Amen. You guys are doing a phenomenal job. And we could go on, but believe it or not, First Lady, we are down to our last 2 minutes. Oh, my goodness. Thank you so much. But before...
Oh, no, it went by so fast. It
did, but you know what? You do so much that we didn't even really get to a lot of it. I hope you would... Oh, my goodness. Do me the honor of coming on again because you guys do so much. We really didn't even get into it. I really wanted to talk about when did you guys really dive into, the philanthropy in the community. I know the church has been around 100 years, literally. And but how did we even get to this point with giving and just, it's so many questions I still have and that I want our listeners to know. But can you take us out with one key ingredient, one thing that you want our listeners and future parishioners to know?
I would say if it's one thing, it's definitely faith. We don't always have all of the ingredients to any initiative, but once we've prayed about it and we have a plan of execution. When I tell you God knows how to take whatever the missing pieces are and bring them together, he does just that. There are times we are running initiatives where we may fall short in manpower or resources or something of that nature, and we'll have someone connect to say, hey, let me connect with you. And the car giveaway was a prime example because in past years, we've been able to provide 5 cars to people. And this year we were going to do 4 because of everything that happened with the pandemic and the other initiatives we had launched. And someone contacted us and said, hey, are we giving away 4 cars or 5 cars this year? And we said, 4, which 4 is great, Yes. And they said, you know what? No, I want my church to give away 5 like they've been doing. I don't want us to miss a beat. And that was literally like an hour prior to us even launching into the giveaway. And so I say that to say that God takes whatever missing gaps we have and he lays it on someone's heart and they meet the need. And it's overwhelming for us as well, to be honest with you. It's overwhelming for us to see God's favor take place in this ministry.
Amen. Thank you for all you do, and thank you for being here, First Lady. We love you, I love you, and keep up God's mission. Thank you so much.
Oh, love you too, Stephanie. Please be safe. Happy holidays.
You too. Bye-bye.